世界から闇を払い、失われた光を取り戻すことを。
それが世界の運命だ。いつまで守られる側でいる。常に胸を張れ。
カップヌードル15当たる。
Hello and welcome back to a very special episode of Pixel Talk. Thank you for coming by again, and I say it is special because
it is the season finale.
Yes, this is the season finale of season 1.
Mm-hmm. We're coming back. This isn't the end of it
of
forever.
Pixel Talk. Yes, yeah. Pixel Talk.
But we wanted to end it off on something special today, so we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 15. It's out, it's here, and we have both played it. We each have our own files. And,
yeah, we do. We got a fair way into the game, and I think we formed a very hard and beefy conclusion to how we feel about this game.
We have. We want to start with where you... don't spoil anything, but, like, you're still in the open world, right?
Yeah, and this is going to be a very spoiler-free
Yeah, don't worry
discussion.
about spoilers. We won't actually talk about spoilers at all. But we will talk about problems that we had and good things we noticed about, not really spoilers, but the story at large. That's one thing I want to touch on. But, before we get into that, let's talk about how beautiful this world is.
Oh, yeah, starting off... graphics, presentation.
Oh my god.
It's just amazing. It's a very, very gorgeous game. Mm-hmm. Just like, look at that freaking piece of toast right here on the screen right now.
Oh my gosh, it looks beautiful.
The food is just photorealistic.
Mm-hmm. It looks really, really good, like, and also the way they integrate it into the world too. It's like, it looks like it could exist in that world. And it doesn't feel tacked on, like, well, alright, there are some instances where, like, alright, the Cup Noodle sponsorship, that's maybe a little bit tacked on.
It may be a little immersion breaking, but
yeah,
just graphically, this game is just super polished.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like,
the world is so beautiful.
It's breathtaking, and the animations in the game are just so well polished.
The
like
combat system. Oh, I could gush about it all day. It's so, like, well crafted. The way that you guard and then block, or like the way you parry and then counterattack, or like how different weapons are good for different instances. Oh, it's so well done, so well designed.
And just the animations, not this and everybody, they move realistically. They interact with what you do. Like if you're positioned well, you might be going in on a link attack there.
Yeah.
And like Gladiolus will like flip over you and then do his attack.
And then you'll give him a high five.
Now I know the combat is something that's been a little bit controversial with the game. Some people like it. Some people think it's very confusing and weird.
I haven't seen too many people saying it's bad.
I've seen a few people have some complaints with it, but I personally think like it's very simple, but has a lot of little nuances to it.
It's something that's, I think, easy to learn but hard to master.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Yeah, it's very much where, like, all right, you could just go in and blindly hold the circle button down and attack everything you see, or you could be a little bit more strategic. Like, all right, you know that if you warp strike from far away, and it's weak to this weapon, you want to start with this weapon first so you can deal the initial damage, and then as you're comboing, switch over into a different one so you can deal the elemental weakness damage, and then, maybe finish it off with some magic or something. And magic itself is so good itself. Like, just, the many different ways you can craft magic.
Like a good version of drawing magic from Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can draw magic. Like, it took what Final Fantasy VIII drawing did right, which was the draw points. In Final Fantasy VIII, you could draw magic from the world as well, except usually it was on like 8 fires or something. It actually depended on your stat how many you could draw. Here it's more like, okay, you just hold your hand to it and you draw it back into your hand, and you have that many that you can turn into a different spell.
Yeah, there's just so much depth in the magic creation. You can create your own spells. You can add in items to like affect those spells, and it's so much fun to experiment with magic and see like what kind of spells you can make.
Then you can add that item into it as well, like
I was saying, and you can have it like attaching a certain item will give you more experience if you cast it. One of them will actually heal you. When you cast it, you can have a fail cast where
it might not work. It's like, it'll cast Fire, except when it doesn't.
Like some items will have the spell cast multiple times. There's just so much room for experimentation in here.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Riku's mix ability in Final Fantasy X. Her mix thing was where she took 2 items, and they might do different things. When she mixed them together, they would have a total new effect that, no matter what, would be helpful to your party and bad for the enemy. So it was nice. That was her overdrive. And it was always really cool. I'm glad they sort of brought that back in magic crafting. And magic in and of itself sort of feels like a limit break. because you can't use it that often. Like, you can use it, like, there's a cooldown to magic. You can't just spam magic.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't trivialize magic. Like, in other games, you could just, like, throw fireballs and shit like it's nothing. Here,
Right.
magic is deadly. Sorry
is.
for the language. It's deadly.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because it won't just hurt the enemy, it will hurt your party, and the magic will linger there.
Yeah, it does. It actually, like, scorches the earth for a long time.
Like, if you throw a thunder, it'll go like...
Yeah, and it just leaves it on. Like, you can see the burn marks on the ground wherever you are. Even in the like, I even like cast fire when I was like in like a puddle of water and the water was on fire. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, it's really fun to do. And other things that are good. Car riding is amazing.
Yeah, it's sort of as you were describing, it really gives these Wind Waker vibes to
Yeah,
it.
it feels like Wind Waker. That's the best way I can put it. And also, you don't only have the car, you also have chocobos.
And you can level up your chocobo. I have never had better times riding a chocobo.
And it says congratulations.
You can level up your chocobo, you can color it different colors. It can attack with you in combat. You can feed your chocobo stuff, so,
it's so good.
it gets a buff. They added in lyrics. Prompto sings a chocobo song.
Yeah, that's true.
He does, I want to ride my chocobo all day.
And then he's like, I can't get it out of my head. I can't get it out of my head.
And then one thing I do disagree with. It's a minor nitpick. During a conversation, Noctis says there's no wrong way to love a chocobo, and I would highly disagree with that.
I mean, maybe Synoxis.
There is plenty of wrong ways to love a chocobo.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, yeah. So it's cool. I love that. Leads me on to another thing I like about this game is the banter that the party has. Party banter is great. They're always talking. They're always chatting with each other as you're exploring. They're always saying something new. And never like on very very rare occasion do they repeat dialogue. Like maybe once or twice I've seen it, but for the most part, like it's usually something fresh that they haven't said before, and that makes it feel really alive.
You know, it's a very great thing where you actually feel like you know them. You're going on this journey with them. Like even if you don't like the story, more on that later.
Yeah.
But the sense of they really wanted to bring about a sense of camaraderie in this game, and that really comes through not just with conversations, but with actual gameplay. Like the things you do actually like impact a lot.
They affect the world.
Too.
Like we did this one hunt, and then they were talking about it on the radio that someone had killed this hunt, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, it seemed to be this group of 4 people." And that was really cool.
Just screwing up with these monsters, Dave. They're really like shoving the whole sword up their butt.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, on the other side of the spectrum, we do have the story, which we should talk about.
You know, it's sad to say that, at least in our opinion, the story is actually one of the big low points of the game.
Yeah. Which is sad for Final Fantasy because usually it's the high point.
Because in JRPGs in general, the story is, a big part of why people like these games.
And I think, so it's not a bad plot. Like in broad strokes, like you really understand what's going on. It's just that like when it's put into practice, it seems so muddled and convoluted.
It's not even convoluted. It's very without giving anything away.
Yeah.
So much important stuff happens off screen.
Yeah, that's true. Like this one instance, which we won't mention, but there was a part of the game where we both thought we should have been there to see, and then we were away, like we weren't where it was happening because we were off doing a dungeon or something, and then we come back, and it's like, all right, this thing happened, and you see the aftermath, kind of, but like it's sort of like it was over and done with while we were gone, and then we wanted to see, like, we wanted to be there ourselves, but we couldn't be there because we were off doing other stuff, and the plot just happened while we were away.
Exactly. It creates so many moments of, oh, I wish I would have seen that. And especially at the beginning, where the events of Kingslave happened.
Yeah.
So Square actually, before the movie came out, said Kingslave is not mandatory to understand the story. And
not
that
true.
Is a lie.
That's
it
not
is.
true. It's absolutely mandatory. Kingsglaive is like the real chapter 1 of the game.
Exactly.
Like you need to see, if you want to actually follow the story, you need to see Kingsglaive. There's no doubt about it. You have to go watch it.
See, Kingslave has a very big and pivotal moment that actually happens in many of the Versus 13 trailers.
Yeah.
The signing ceremony. And without even, if you haven't seen Kingslave, you do not see this. You only see the aftermath of it.
And I know the game tried to like squeeze in little like snippets of flashbacks, but of Kingsglaive. They actually patched that in, but it still feels extremely tacked on. It's like, all right, you know what? I'd rather you just didn't show that at all, because at this point, you removed this story content from the game to put it in a movie, and now you're trying to put it back in the game. It's like, what's
So
the
it's like,
point? Why? What is
Why?
the point? Yeah. All right. I mean, that's apart from that. I mean, a lot of stuff is good. Like the side characters that I've met, like you have some guest characters, and they're all really cool.
Yeah, the side characters and the towns in general are huge, and I mean huge step up from 13.
It's tougher from Lightning Returns in specifically, because that was the other open world game. Like, okay, they Lightning Returns and 15 work on a similar system where like they have an NPC quests, right, where they have you go do fetch quests. But in 15, they're a little bit more engaging. Their animations are better. Their voice acting is better. They feel in general just more alive.
Even if the act of just kill this monster for me is like whatever, but a lot of the NPCs actually have multiple quests. You actually like, oh, you helped me before, want to help me again? And
well, I mean, Lightning Returns did that too. It just did it poorly, because the fact that Lightning Returns has NPCs named Dr. Sheep. Dr. Sheep, has you heard sheep? That's okay. All right, but Final Fantasy 15 is good. It doesn't do that.
But
so...
but just in general, the world feels so much more alive and just than any of the 13 trilogy.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It reminds me a lot of what Final Fantasy 12 did right.
Like there's actually like backstory within the world.
You learn lore by doing side quests, and that's an excellent thing.
Yeah.
That's what I want out of. That's what side quests should do. Granted, not every single side quest in 15 does that, but there are some that do, and that's what matters.
And so far, the locations have been really memorable.
Oh yeah, like the Golden Key. The Golden Key.
Yeah,
it's a great area.
Then and oftentimes this another big draw is the story, as ridiculous as it can be.
Yeah,
doesn't really take itself super seriously in the way that 13 did.
That's true. Like even when bad things are happening, Noctis and his friends are still like having a good time. It doesn't, which I guess could be a weakness as well, because sometimes it feels like, all right, there's all this stuff going on, but we kind of don't care. That's when it made me feel a little bit. It's like, all right, we maybe should care a little bit more than we are. But you know what? That's fine. I enjoy camping, so it's okay. But,
13, in my opinion, was it just took itself so seriously, and there wasn't.
Especially the later games. 13.1 was okay in that regard, but it's still, like, I feel like 13.1 was trying to tell a really heavy story, and it then also tried to be silly at times and just didn't work. But 15 doesn't even try doing that. It's just like, all right, we're just going to have fun, we're going to have a good road trip, and the character development for the main four is really well done as well. Like, you really grow to love them.
Again, you really feel like you know them, and... it really drives home Prompto taking those pictures. They're making memories.
Absolutely.
So even with all this bad stuff going on, they're gonna look back on that fondly.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I really missed that trip. But overall, we both came to a conclusion on what we would give the game grade-wise.
Okay, so despite the story itself being very kind of light and not very much told with any grace.
Yeah.
There's still plenty to love about the game. The combat is tight. The world is breathtaking and beautiful and alive. Man. There's a lot to do in the world. You got your hunts, you got your side quests. You have a bunch of like stuff you can find in the world going off the beaten path. The soundtrack. We didn't even talk about the soundtrack.
Oh, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
We're not giving it 10 out of 10.
Well,
the soundtrack
the
is
soundtrack
great.
itself, yeah. It was good.
So overall, WXP gives Final Fantasy 15 a B+.
B+.
We're going to slap a B right on the dish today.
Yeah. A B+. It was good.
It's a great game.
Like a B+ is in like, you take home you get a test back, it says B+, good work, with a little smiley face.
We'll put a smiley face on that there too.
Yeah, so you did a good job, Final Fantasy 15. I'm really excited for 16.
I'm surprised we haven't learned any more about that yet.
Yeah, usually they announce the next main entry before the current entries come out. So I'm sure we'll learn about it soon, but that's all for the future.
But anyways, thank you for watching the season finale of Pixel Talk. We'll join you and chat with you again beginning of January.
We'll be back.
But in the meantime, let's talk about some of the stuff we're going to be doing in the meantime, because the channel's not going to be dead.
We are finishing Paper Mario.
We'll finish Paper Mario. We're going to be doing another.
We're doing some other stuff. Yeah, some other playthroughs. We're just sort of like working on improving our set and everything for next season.
Yeah, we just got a new microphone. We got the microphone.
Very special. His name is Yeti. And it's fun. All right.
So we'll see you then in season 2.
Season 2. Bye guys.
Bye.
Later.